The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. They clean up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hey, Daft Punk's in the building. Thanks for tuning in, DJs and DJets, or Daphnes. Are we still running with that one?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Anyway, I am Fusemania from Cincinnati, Ohio.
I am Drew Pierce from Long Beach, California. And together, we form Voltron.
That's right.
Is that too old of a callback for some of these people?
Probably.
You got to remake that, right?
One half of the Power Rangers.
Yes. I don't know which Ranger I'd be.
It's like in the movie Airheads where they're the Lone Rangers. But he's like, how can you pluralize the Lone Ranger? You're not exactly lone, are you?
Brendan Fraser just won that Golden Globe, by the way. So
I saw he was all like crying and weird, and I don't know. It was just weird. The Austin Butler kid won for Elvis, which I thought it was good, but I don't like him. Maybe I'm just a hater. You know, I am a hater by nature. So
I think you hated the movie in general versus his performance was good.
Maybe. I think he looks like Miley Cyrus the whole movie, weirdly. And I think that's what I hated.
And Elvis Miley?
Yeah, dude, he did. He looks like he was coming through like a wrecking ball the entire movie. And I just couldn't like I saw it and then like they just had lots of makeup on him. And I know it's Elvis and like I get it, but it was just weird. And then like it was a typical Baz Luhrmann movie where it's like
not tight.
Well, it was like The Great Gatsby, only Elvis. And I don't know. I just thought I'm like, you did this already, you know? And that's what I didn't like.
That's his style. That's his steez. You can't take away the guy's brand.
Romeo and Juliet wasn't completely like that, and that was cool. I liked that.
Yeah, but that was his like early days before he got his foothold on his
his foothold. Style. Do something new.
Branding is important. That's going to be a new segment coming up here shortly, I'm sure.
Baz Luhrmann featuring Baz Luhrmann. Dude, I'm sorry. It's been a long week, and we're slow to start today, and I don't know what I got to say. I know we have a great guest today that we have lots to talk with. Did you have anything eventful happen this weekend to you?
I was in Vegas. And I was roadieing. I've been into the roadieing lately. I'll go out and I'll roadie for somebody. So this was roading for Malik from Orlando, and we did a wedding with Andrea Ippolito, one of the top planners in the game. It was really cool to, be on the non-stressful side of just what an event goes, but being able to just say, hey, you tell me what to do because, I'm not in charge here. But it was actually very interesting. It was a really cool wedding and over the top. The production was on another planet, and Malik killed it. It was super fun. So it was a turnaround trip that didn't involve any booze or any gambling to Vegas.
That's nice. That's good. Well, the gambling, maybe I would have, thrown a little money in a slot machine before I walked out, probably. But yeah, I didn't. I'm still on the dry January chain. Went to wrestling last night. Didn't have a drink, so that's an accomplishment right there. Wrestling and booze go hand in hand. So
yes, it does.
My weekend was pretty standard, uneventful in terms of like nothing crazy happened. It was just at the normal spots, so it was good though. Oh, well, we did we brought back our Taylor Swift Pop Power Hour at the bar. So the first hour, if you guys haven't heard us talk about this before, the first hour of the night at the bar, we advertise as a Pop Power Hour, and we play only one artist. We kicked it off again. It's just a slow time at the bars, so we try to get people in there in different ways, and this way has really helped for us. And so yeah, I played all Taylor Swift for the first hour, and it was popping in there. And shout out to Even Steve. He was in town. He got to see how the Pop Power Hour went down, so that was cool.
Shout out even Steve.
Yeah. Also, shout out to DJ Coco, came to shadow me Saturday at the club as well. Got to hang out. He's a big listener of the show, so he came, hung out, and yeah, brought some liquid deaths, drank some liquid deaths up in the club.
The non-sponsor sponsor.
Non-sponsor sponsor. Speaking of non-sponsored sponsors, if you use the promo code Drew and Fuse Show, that'll get you 30% off your first month of activation at directmusicservice.com. Also, Drew's getting a little ahead of himself. He can't wait to drop those drops of Jupiter on his face from the Briggs Beard Co. A little beard oil, keeping him fresh and funky over there, and making his beard silky smooth. If you use promo code DAFS, you get 20% off that product at briggsbeardcompany.com. So yeah, and don't forget to check out the affiliate link below for Club Cannon. It'll save you $25 off a purchase of $250 or more. So make sure you check that out. And we're just going to get right into today's guest. He's a host. He's an MC. He's a keynote speaker. He's a game show host. He's been in-game host for the Utah Jazz. He DJs. He does it all. He's super busy all the time, flying all around, doing all these things. And we're excited to have him here to chat with us today and talk about all of the things that he does. So please help us welcome Rob Ferre.
Hey. I usually have some fanfare playing for me, but not today. So you can put that in post there.
Well, we are going to be asking a question about that, so you could just insert that right here once we.
I know, and we also worry about like the YouTube algorithms like shutting us down, and so I want to be very mindful of that. But usually, what's the fanfare I use? Wait, let's see if I can do this. Fanfare. I always have fanfare ready to go, like, something like this. Price is Right. Anyway,
amazing. Oh man, Price is Right was my stuff back in the day, and I know my mom listens to this podcast, so she'll get a kick out of this comment. Price is Right was always the last show I watched before my afternoon nap as a kid.
You mean you didn't watch today's special? Do you remember that?
No, because it was Days of Our Lives that would come on afterwards, I think.
Yes.
Or maybe it was before. I can't remember.
So I'm behind the scenes taking notes. And for everybody that's watching on YouTube, I am joining you from New Orleans. This is not my regular studio. So I had to bring a ring light, the ring light that we got from the DJ Collective.
It ended up coming in handy for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I have my blue microphone right here. So I'm not using the microphone that they provided me. This one's much better. So, the new intro, love it. You got some like great little segments there. You got like the credits are all in Vegas. And my favorite is a story about you clean up nice. I love when Drew ever tells that story. So, yes. Also, you talked about Voltron. Are any of you fans of Rick and Morty? There is a Voltron episode. It is the best. It is so good. The Rick and Morty Voltron episode.
All right, I'm putting that in my notes,
dude. Okay, the Elvis movie was awesome. I appreciated that. It was it makes me go look back at. I love these biopics. It makes you appreciate the artist even more. Like Elvis, I'm like, not a big fan, but like what that guy did and what he did was just amazing, right?
I think they just glossed over a little bit more of the real biopic I would have liked, and a little less flashy Berlin and Baz Luhrmann. Yeah.
I want to clear that up too. I don't hate Elvis. I really actually like Elvis. I just didn't like the movie. I won't. Got it. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
In Fuse and I, we have a connection. I have a connection to Cincinnati. My family's out in my wife's family's out in Ohio.
Yep.
And I was indoctrinated about 10 years ago to Skyline Chili, and so.
There you go.
I actually really appreciate it now. Have you had Skyline, Drew?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, you gotta get some chili and noodles and just way too much cheese.
I got a random phone call. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's from Drew, and he just said, "I just want to let you know I'm kind of craving some Skyline chili now," and that was it. See ya.
Right. Well, us people who I love three ways, and if you're a Mormon and maybe you're into polygamy, then you maybe like four ways or five ways. There
Or
you go.
6
There's
ways.
my joke of the day. And then I love the Pop Power Hour. While you were talking about that, we were
Mhm.
going to talk about our top, maybe our music stuff. I want to
Uh-huh.
go into some of my top five remixers. So we'll talk about that later, unless we want to get into that now. But because the reason I wanted to bring that up is I come from a very different world than the two of you. I
Mhm.
never did clubs, never. I started as a DJ at theme parks at Universal Studios.
In
So
Florida?
yes, in Florida. And
Okay.
so my first DJ gig, I mean, I did DJing in college where I was like a radio DJ, and I loved that. And then I went to Florida and I was working for Disney. And then Elliot Hansen, who was working with a company called Electro Magic, fun fact, owned by Promo Only and sponsored by Mackie and Pioneer. Like everything was Mackie, everything was Pioneer. All our tracks were promo only. I would sit in the queue lines while people would wait in line to go on the Men in Black ride and play music while
There was
people
a
waited.
Men in Black ride at Florida Universal.
Yes.
What would that ride consist of? Was it one of the ones where you shoot the
Yeah.
aliens down or something? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But the line got so long, it would go outside because it was a newer ride at the time. This was like 18 years ago. And so the line would go outside. And the great thing about that, the dance floor would rotate every 20, 30 minutes. So I'd have a new crowd every 20, 30 minutes. And so I could go back to stuff that I was playing like an hour ago. Like, hey, here's the cha-cha slide. Like everybody's like into it.
Are you forced to play the Men in Black song just
No.
every 30 minutes? No?
No, I don't. No.
Did you do like a Will Smith montage routine?
I should have, but I didn't. It was a lot of crowd work. It was like telling jokes and playing songs, taking requests.
And that's what we're excited to talk to you about. But I want to say, one of the first DJs I ever shadowed he was on CDs and he would go, "Hey, I got this routine. Watch this." And he'd bust out a Will Smith mega set, but he would do it on CDs and he would quick mix. He's like, "Watch this." And he'd like flip the CD super fast. So it'd be like Jiggy with it, Miami, Men in Black. And I'm like, oh, wow, that sure is cool. You know? No, I wasn't.
You got to do a Will Smith Power Hour. Can you
Will
fill
Smith
an hour?
Power Hour. Yeah. Well, what I've learned from doing the power hours, and this probably would be no surprise to you, since is that the people that show up for those, you know, they want to hear the whole song and they want to hear like the big songs. And also what I've learned is you can have a whole night for the Taylor Swift like we do for that hour, and everybody that'll be there will be there for Taylor Swift, and they still won't like a certain song that you play. Somebody will still not like it. They're still not happy. Like I had some girl, not this song, don't play this song, and everybody else is like loving it, right? And it's like we all came for Taylor Swift and we still can't agree on which songs we want. So I kind of do it radio style a little more, where it's like I'll play a song, I'll talk for a minute, blah 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 blah, play another song, talk for a minute, like, and then that kind of fills the hour. Because when we first started it, I thought, oh man, I'm gonna DJ this whole hour and it's gonna go great. And then I was like DJing it like I normally would, and then like they were getting pissed that I was like cutting songs off or this and that. So that's when I was like, oh, this is the way to do this. And that's kind of how I've done every single one since. And it's worked out pretty great.
Do you do trivia? I feel like you need to do trivia. What year was Swifty born? Right?
No, I usually just talk shit. Like I pick out somebody behind the bar and I'm like, they just broke up with their girlfriend tonight. And this song is for them. And remember, they are toxic. And then you play like, we are never, ever, ever getting back together.
So you set up the song with a little bit of a joke. So if you did the Will Smith Power Hour, you're like, well, this song is not a Will Smith Power Hour song, but it's dedicated to Will Smith. Then play Smack My Bitch Up. Hey,
Zing. Let's get into some rapid fire. We got a big show for you. We got a ton of different segments. We even have a new fun segment video I created just 1 minute ago, right before you got on. So
it's a work of art. Let me tell you, it's a work of art.
So yeah, let's get into rapid fire. Here we go.
All right, I'll play this clip real quick.
Well, hey there, it's Dolly. And I must say, it takes a lot of money to look as cheap as Drew and Fuse. Well, they do clean up nicely, though. Speaking of cleaning up nicely, why don't we get into some rapid fire? Today's guest, how nicely do you clean up?
That is amazing. Dolly from the DJ Collective. Fun fact, I was probably the only person that line danced with her. It was so awkward. She was like teaching line dancing and everybody, there's a bunch of DJs just staring at her like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I'm not a big line dancer, but I like watching people try to line dance.
Yeah, that was quite entertaining.
You know, Phrase is from DMS, does a Thursday night country night, and they do like all line dances there. So when Drew and I go to Seattle to visit him, I'm gonna bring my boots from Nashville, my Stetson hat, and I'm gonna go out there and line dance.
Get it.
I think I probably would have line danced had we not gone out the night before, and it was a little rough getting up that.
I get it. Oh yeah, we had a fun night the night before.
Oh yeah.
Drew came into the room at like 4 a.m. every night. And then the next day would be like, oh, it was the steak. And I was like, yeah, the steak. That's what it was.
Well, I had a blast with Drew. I was in Nashville for a speaking event, and he just happened to be there for his birthday. So I got to meet his family, all his like friends, and it was fun. And I got to hang out with them. And it was 6 p.m. when I met up with Drew. He was already blasted by 6 p.m.
It was my birthday though, and fair enough.
Yeah. He lasted till about like 9:30. Like we went to this other like bar.
I tried to rally you. I tried.
Yeah.
And
but
it
your
was
wife,
not happening.
Your wife was like, we're calling it a night. We called it a night around like 10 p.m. Like your wife's like, he's going home.
Yeah. I tried to rally, but it wasn't happening. All right, hit him with the questions.
All right, your favorite host or MC?
Well, one that I like to emulate is Ryan Seacrest. I really like him just because of his professionality. As far as like favorite like ones to watch, like my favorite is actually Colbert. Colbert is one of my favorite hosts just because he's multi-talented. He has improv skills. He's just funny and he can do a lot of skits and things like that. So Colbert is like my favorite to watch.
Wait, let me ask real quick. So Ryan Seacrest, did you ever feel that he was, at one point he was overworked and pretty much just on every single thing? Do you feel he was watered down just a little too much? Should he have pulled it back just a little bit? And maybe I say that because I'm in LA, and so he was on every morning in LA. Then he was also on.
Oh yeah, because he was doing radio, TV. Well, let's think about it in our terms. Like, you got to strike while the iron is hot. He was probably in his 30s and he was making bank, and then he was setting up his legacy. And so us for now in our 40s, Fuse, are you in your 40s?
Not yet.
So you're still in your prime. Drew and I are kind of like, okay, what are we going to say no to now? Right. Probably back in our 30s, we said yes to everything. And now we're kind of like, okay. And so I think for him, I think it could have been overexposure, but like when you're hot, you're hot. You just got to go. You got to go hard and make that money when you can.
Fair enough.
Really?
Okay, then with Colbert, do you think old Colbert or new talk show Colbert?
I actually really enjoyed the old Colbert, but that was a character. And so the way he's kind of reinvented himself to be more authentic to himself is really good as well. So, and I know a lot of people don't like Colbert because of how he gets political and things like that, but I just really enjoy his wit, his creativity, and just how he approaches everything. And how he plays with his audience. I also really like Conan O'Brien. He's just like super over the top, but Colbert's like, I even dream about going to Colbert, like, University. Like, I had a dream one night, like, oh, I'm at Colbert University. We get to learn about Colbert. Like, people don't have dreams like that. I do. So
Conan's a great one too. I'm a big Conan fan too.
Did you like growing up is hosting something is like that's something you wanted to do, or did you just kind of like fall into it?
I fell into it. Like a lot of people, I'm the kind of person who just is a sucker for the stage. I tell people that. Like, I just look at any type of opportunity to be in front of an audience. So as a kid, I did a whole variety of things. I did theater. I also did dance. I did anything to be in front of an audience. And so DJing is one way to be in front of an audience. Hosting, So anyway, just to share my talents, to share my voice, that's what I do.
That's awesome. So, one song that you would pick as your theme song if you're entering the wrestling ring, what song is playing as you're walking down?
Typically, I use September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's a fun song to dance along to. Fun fact, I actually picked my wedding date based on that song. I was dating my girlfriend at the time, Larissa. She's from Ohio. And I said, well, September 21st falls on a Saturday this year. I think that's the perfect date. And I always tell people I picked that date so I can always remember my wedding date. And so that's like my go-to. I'm trying to think of like more epic walk-up songs and things like that. But like September's like just like it's a good solid song for me.
We thought it would be Hip Hop Ferre.
So that's a fun one as well. A fellow speaker of mine, he said, hey, for people to remember your name, do Hip Hop Ferre, like rhymes with hip hop, hooray. I'm like, oh. So, and I'm probably the least hip hop person, very white.
That's what makes it amazing.
Yeah. So, and then I put that on my shoes. I got a pair of custom shoes and it says Hip Hop Ferre on my shoes.
We're gonna have to like edit a custom version of that, or maybe we can get Naughty
You
by
get
Nature.
Phrase to do it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really cool. Like, welcome to the stage, none other than Rob Ferre. So put up your hands for Hip Hop Ferre.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everybody's putting their hands up.
I feel like you need a
Hip-hop
custom intro for that.
Yeah.
I think it would be dope.
Yes, I'm putting that in my notes right now. Phrase Hip Hop Ferre custom intro. Writing that down. Okay. Next question.
So, what we like to do is ask for a funny or crazy DJ story, or in your case, it could be while you were hosting or doing a game show. Something crazy that happened, something fun, something memorable, bad, doesn't matter, but just a wild story that you can recall.
The one story I tell is like, it's the story that I'm very ashamed of, but we can laugh at it now. I mean, I'm very curious if any of you have done this. And I sent this to Drew as a topic, and it's called DJ Meltdowns. Early on in my career, I'm very egocentric at times, where I would believe like the music I selected was the best music for this moment. And if you tell me my music was crap, I get offended and I take it personally. I never worked in a club where I had those people who were constantly chattering, telling me, and I think you guys probably did your hours kind of like drowning out that bullshit, right?
Totally.
I still get heckled. I think Fuse still gets heckled
all the time.
Constantly. Yeah.
My favorite is when they heckle and you can just blow them off and then they still spend all their money at drinks in your bar. That's my favorite.
So I didn't have those experiences. So I was doing a wedding it was probably like 7 years ago. I was up in Park City, Utah. It was a backyard wedding, a more intimate wedding, probably around 60 to 80 guests. Older bride and groom, probably in their late 40s. And they had this bridesmaid, like the best friend of the bride, probably in her 40s as well, who was constantly in my ear. Hey, more 90s hip hop, more this, more that. And it was a smaller group, and the songs she was requesting, everybody was dancing to, and she was out there. She was like the first one out there getting people going. So we're at the end of the night, and I'm doing like the sing-alongs, right? And the father of the bride comes up to me and gives me a $20 bill. I think I was doing Sweet Caroline. He's all like, hey, it's all right. We're going to go overtime. Let's go over a half hour. Here's a $20 bill. Keep going. Keep this vibe going. He wanted like the sing-alongs. So I think I'm playing maybe Don't Stop Believing or something like that. And then she comes up to me and she says to me, she's like, turn the song off, change the song. And then I point and I said, well, they're all dancing to it. The father of the bride wants me to keep playing this. And she's like, no, this song is shit. That's when the temperature, the thermometer went up, started rising and boiling, and it went, poof. And she's like, turn this song off, do something else. I'm like, you want me to turn this song off? She's like, yes. So I take my laptop and I shut it. I don't know what was going through my head, but I thought, oh, this will show her. And I shut the laptop, music stops, everybody kind of goes, huh? And they all look. And her and I are just like going back and forth. And then like her husband, the bridesmaid's husband, comes up, grabs her, pulls her away. And everybody's like shuffling around. The bride goes into the house, and everybody's just like, it just destroyed the party, and that was it. I destroyed the party because of my ego, and I felt so stupid afterwards. And I just like, people apologized to me, but I should have been apologizing to them. Like, oh, sorry, she was drunk. She's this. She can get that way. Whatever. Da, 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 da. But it's because I made it about myself. And I actually talked about this at Mobile Beat about 5 years ago, and it was just like a very weak moment. The crazy thing is, I did it again 2 weeks later.
At what age is this? At what age are you at this? Or this is early on the career, or a couple years
This is
in?
the middle of my career.
Okay.
But like 7 years ago, I've been DJing I've started my business 16 years ago. I started DJing about 18 years ago. So this is probably, I knew better, right? But I'm DJing for a youth group at the National Speakers Association National Conference in Phoenix, Arizona. And I start DJing for these kids. Imagine it doing.
Oh, the kids are the worst.
Well, they were the kids would start at 10. And then they had youth counselors who were in college up until like 23, right? So you had all the older kids and the youth counselors requesting booty music with 10-year-olds in the room. And it was just so awkward because I was catering towards the like 10 and 12-year-olds, and I'm playing like Cupid Shuffle, Cha Cha Slide, Chicken Dance, and they just wanted like, right, YMCA, yeah. And so I'm catering to those kids, and they would like come up to me and like turn down the lights, turn up the music, do this, do that, and like no. And like when we're doing the Cupid Shuffle, and when I entertain for like younger kids, I'm like, okay, I'm leading them and I'm showing them what to do. I'm like, now we're gonna switch it up. Instead, just do the Cupid Shuffle. Let's now do the Thriller Dance, right? And I'm doing all this stuff, and one of the kids was like, no, this is lame. What did I do? Shut my laptop down again. And I start to berate them. I'm giving them a lecture from the stage, like, I'm here for you. I volunteered for this. I'm not even getting paid. And you're doing. Like, the last thing kids want is somebody to tell them to shut up and lecturing them. And obviously, I lost the audience. There was a youth counselor who was a DJ who wanted to do a set. And I said, take over. And he resurrected the party. Yes, I'm an idiot, folks.
What's your learning experience from this?
Yeah. What?
Well, funny enough, a month later, I went to Todd Mitchum's workshop, and he actually gave me we broke it down. And when I told this story, like Quayne Toll was in the room, Henry Race was in the room, Paul Helms, who's from my market, they're all in the room and they're listening to the story, just going, and I'm like, Rob, I didn't know you were such an asshole. And, and what Todd Mitchum taught me, he's like, you made it about you. Don't assume that your audience wants you to fail. When they do these things, they make it about themselves. They're only worried about the music that will get them dancing. So you have to validate people. And so if somebody were to come up to me and give me a terrible request, I still validate their request, but let them know softly that I can't do it. Oh, yeah, I really love that song as well. But unfortunately, and I always say they told me I couldn't play it, or they have this specific request list. Or you just say, oh, I don't have that track, or can you play it off my phone? Oh, I'm not allowed to. Just like, you make up we know all the excuses. Yeah. But I made it about me.
It's a good trick to get the requester away. Sometimes in the bar settings, don't do it as nicely as that. I will usually just go, oh, Mary Beth over here doesn't like this song. How does everybody in here feel about this song? And they're like, woo! And then I'm like, oh, sorry.
And I think that's fine in a bar atmosphere. They're adults.
Yeah, totally. You can't do that. Yeah.
But at a wedding, if you throw somebody under the bus at a wedding,
that's what I'm saying. That's a great. What the way you said is the appropriate way to handle that in that situation.
Hey, can you play Stairway to Heaven? Oh man, I love that song, but unfortunately, it's on the do not playlist. Where is that? It's like you make up something. You know?
I go with the Got You Fam and then fist bump and then just don't play.
The old I Got You.
Yes. Yeah.
Got You Fam.
Remember at DJ Collective 2? I think it was Krieger. Krieger taught us this one. Krieger says, it's like, what he does is like, hey, can you play some NSYNC? And all he does is he repeats it and points at him, NSYNC! That's it. That's all he does. That's
I like that one. I like that one.
Right, that's all it is. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, play some NSYNC. NSYNC. That's it.
That's my new one. That's the new go-to. I like it.
Yeah.
I would be like, was that a yes or a no? Or
Right. Exactly.
That's
It
the
doesn't mean
point.
anything.
I know. It's so good.
Yeah.
No, that's great. It's a great story. I like when DJs tell a story like that of like kind of a night that's gone bad, because it humanizes us all, and it shows that, you've come where you've come from that since then too. And I think that's good. That's a good way to handle that, is just like you said, to acknowledge and validate the request and then move on. I think that's a good little advice, and something that's easy to do, that you can move along your night with, just move forward. Don't let it bother you, and keep the party going.
It's hard, and what I've kind of realized what a DJ is as I've gotten older is we're the bouncers of the jukebox, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, your dollar's good. No, your dollar sucks. No, this one's all right. Okay, I'll accept this in quarters. We're just bouncing the jukebox of what we think will do the party. So you can't have an ego about it. Like a bouncer, you just gotta let it bounce right off you and move it along.
What do you do though when you're the jukebox and then they like put their money in and then they're like starting to hit it and push it? Like what do you do then?
You call
How does
another
your
bouncer.
jukebox feel?
Their money gets spit back out. I don't know. I actually, unless it's over 100, I don't take any tips. Period. Unless they throw it at me, because
I'm always like, just give it to the bartenders or something.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't want any of their money, because then they think they own me for their $5. It's like, keep your $5. I spend it somewhere else.
So the next question would be, where would you take us to eat in your hood?
Utah.
Yeah. So do you want like a sit down, or do you want like fast food?
We just want something that we can't get. Like it's like Skyline, right? You can't get it anywhere really else. What else is like something that you like that we can't get?
Our version of Skyline would be Crown Burger. It's a Greek-owned restaurant chain. The Greeks have amazing restaurants in Utah. So Crown Burger has this famous burger. It's called their Crown Burger, which is a pastrami burger with cheese. It's amazing. So, and the restaurants look really cool. Like the one that's by my house has like this elevated little eatery with a fireplace and like throne room like chairs. It's amazing. So have you ever been there, Drew, to Crown Burger?
I have not. Shockingly enough, I've only been to Utah one time in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. For the film festival. And that was it.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw DJ Spider. I was doing karaoke, and Spider was doing the house music, and I was like, who is that? And then Brian B's like, you don't know who that is? That's because I was like on my stories, and he's like, that's Spider. And he just blew me away. I was like, oh, this is what like a real touring DJ plays. So it was amazing.
Yeah, he does those. He's been doing those for years and years.
Yeah.
He's like the main DJ out there for that. So shout out DJ Spider.
Then for sit down, like the big famous one is called the Blue Iguana. It's a Mexican restaurant. A lot of people like that one because they have like a really good mole. So that's good.
Mexican in Utah. That's a thing, huh?
Of course.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm always down to try some Mexican food. So
always. What's the go-to there?
I don't know. You just get anything with their mole. Just anything with the mole sauce. Like an enchilada with the mole sauce, whatever.
Anytime I hear mole, I think Austin Powers, where he's like, muh, and he can't say mole.
Oh yeah, right. Yes.
What is your go-to one-word non-curse word? One-word non-curse word.
In Utah, we like to take a lot of curse words and we Mormonize them. Yeah. So like frick, heck, gosh, darn.
Fudging?
No fudging. But frick is probably my go-to.
Yeah. The old frick.
When I was on my mission in Spain, it was shiz. Shiz. So yeah. I've evolved.
Shiz.
I do a lot of cursing in my car. I curse a lot in my car.
I like both of those because they are. That's I grew up Mormon, and my family was big into the fudging and the frickin'. It was fudging and frickin' was everything. Yeah, I think they cussed more than me if they would have just, but it was always fudging and frickin'.
Exactly.
So at what point are you just saying the real word? Because you're saying the real word, right?
Totally.
Right.
It's what's the difference? It's like in the movie Almost Famous, where the sister, before she moves away, she says to the mom, she's like, "Feck you," and the mom's like, "What's the difference?" And he's like, "The letter U."
With Almost Famous, the main actor, the kid that's in it,
Mhm.
he went to my high school, East High School. And fun fact, East High School is the school that's featured in High School Musical. I went to that high school. So,
Oh wow.
Dang.
and
Was it
speaking of,
anything like that?
yeah. So they based the movie off of my high school career. I would during lunch, I would jump onto the table and I would start doing a beat. People would clap along, and then all of a sudden we were singing. It was amazing.
The whole lunchroom.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
We got this new segment for just you today, Rob, and it is called Dapper versus GQ. And Drew made this high quality segment video, and I'm going to play it right here real quick.
Nominees for Male Model of the Year.
Young, hot, brash, with more covers in his first year than any rookie model ever, and an attitude that says, who cares? It's only fashion.
That Drew and Fuse show is so hot right now.
I wasn't like every other kid, who dreams about being an astronaut. I was always more interested in what bark was made out of on a tree. Richard Gere's a real hero of mine. Sting would be another person who's a hero. The music that he's created over the years, I don't really listen to it, but the fact that he's making that, I respect that. I care desperately about what I do. Do I know what product I'm selling? No. Do I know what I'm doing today? No. But I'm here, and I'm going to give it my best shot.
Drew and Fuse show. My favorite part of that whole little clip is he goes, I really look up to Sting. Do I listen to his music? No. But I like what he's doing.
I really like to think about what bark's made of.
So good.
So Dapper versus GQ. What are your thoughts here?
Explain this to us. Explain.
Yes.
Break it down. Break it down.
So it all started here. Facebook, the dregs of society are on DJ idea sharing. And you go on DJ idea sharing and you share a thought, and then everybody has to chime in. Then you post a picture of your setup, and then it's like gear porn, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is amazing," and everybody's showing off their setup. And then they might be some schlub behind the scenes, like they have this amazing setup, and then they're wearing like a Hollywood video vest over like a white shirt and like cummerbund or whatever. Like it's just like they take so much pride in their setup, but they don't take any pride in the way they actually look.
Yeah.
And so I added a reaction of like all this. I said, okay, everybody loves their gear, but nobody's taking pride in the way they look as a person. And so I created what is called the Dapper DJ group. Roman Zandy and I did a presentation at DJ Collective about dressing the part, but he doesn't like the term Dapper. He likes the term GQ. So I say Dapper versus DQ in the sense of like, where do you lie? Where do you want to, what does your fashion look like? And fashion's always evolving. And I think the Dapper look was really in about 10 years ago. That's when it really came into vogue. I think it kind of came back from like the 60s era. Everybody's wearing like the black suits and the skinny black tie and things like that. And now 10, 12 years later, I think that it has evolved as well. And it's more of a GQ look in the sense that you don't have to have like the 3-piece suit with the tie or whatever. And I have multiple 3-piece suits, which I like, but now I've evolved. I'm not wearing a tie anymore. Drew, I actually have been noticing what Drew's been wearing. Drew's wearing black on black button-up shirt, no tie, black pants, and it looks great. Black is very slimming, and it's very GQ as well as what your look is, right? And what you wear at a club versus what you wear at a wedding, right? And so I am always hung up on the people that don't evolve their style, but evolve their music and also evolve their setup. But they're still wearing like the vest and the shirt and the tie. And I used to do that as well, but I don't do that anymore. And so people need to like look at what other people are doing and being inspired. And so I'm constantly inspired by what other people are wearing. Like bomber jackets are now are the thing, right? And I started wearing bomber jackets. I was not a bomber jacket guy, you know, or wearing like the shirt hoodie thing. Like, you know who wears this constantly is my friend Eric Rhodes up in Boise. Like, this is a quintessential Eric Rhodes look. And so I'm inspired by what people play, but I'm also inspired by what people look. And so that is how I evolved. And so there's my little diatribe on fashion when it comes to DJ.
It's important, you know, we're in a young man's game, and it's important to stay fresh. And just because, you know, you're growing old doesn't mean you have to look old, or, you know, or get stuck in your ways of how you dress. And I think you're addressing something that's very, very important. Your music can be young, but if you look old up there, people are going to be like, this old guy, blah, 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 blah. And I think that it's important.
It also needs to be authentic to you as well. There are people who are old who dress like they're 20, wearing, you know, maybe skinny jeans and like with the chain and the thing. And you're like, you know, and it looks weird. They have this gut come pouring over like these skinny jeans, and it just doesn't work.
Man,
so
I'm being targeted right now.
I'm not targeting you. It's just like, I'm aware of it as well. And I was like, okay, this looks odd on me. Like, you just got to find the right clothes, but you also need to find things that fit well, but also look good and are relevant to your audience.
Well, it can even go the other way of wearing a baggy suit and looking like a used car salesman.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you don't have an up-to-date suit and you're just you have something out of the closet. So, and what's your take now? Can you even dumb it down even more than, you know, just taking off the vest or the tie? What is your take on that? Like, say a barn wedding, what would you feel is appropriate for a barn wedding?
So I lead with the question like, hey, what are the groomsmen wearing? I always start with that. And so if we're doing a wedding at a barn, like, what are the groomsmen wearing? Oh, they're all wearing like khaki pants and white shirts with suspenders and a bow tie. Okay. So I can either match that vibe, or like, I've also done barn weddings where they are dressed up in tuxes, or, oh, they're wearing button-up jeans, bolo ties. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. So I'll wear jeans, boots, button-up shirt, and jacket. And then I can shed the jacket as the night goes on or whatever. So
if it's not already, it should be in your forms, or at least in your call.
Yeah, that's usually my call. I do it in the call. Yeah, forms or call. I want to match the vibe of the groomsmen. It's not necessarily the groom, but the groomsmen. And for our female DJs, ask the same question. What are the bridesmaids wearing?
How important would you say, and I think I already know the answer, but just for people listening, if you're going to go spend the money on a nice suit or a jacket and pants, in my opinion, it's 100% important, and you should just do it, is making sure you get it tailored to fit you, or else that all that money you spent is just pointless.
Yeah, there's two different options: getting a custom suit or going somewhere and getting it tailored. A lot of people ask me where to go. So these are the two places. If you have a Nordstrom Rack in your area, Nordstrom Rack has some really great stuff. And you can buy it for on the cheap, like get a suit for like $100, go get it tailored for 40 or $50, and you got a great suit. I also suggest Express. What I suggest with Express, though, is you go to Express, you find the suits there, you try them on, then you wait for the 50% off sale online, then you buy it online. Instead of buying it for like $300, you're buying it for $150.
Totally. Great advice. They do have some nice stuff on Express, and I've done both. I've gone to like we have a Macy's here that does that. Like, you can buy a suit and they'll custom tailor it there for you as well.
Macy's is great,
it takes a few days, but you can go and they'll measure it out for you, and then go pick it up a couple days later.
H&M's fine as well. It is more disposable though. So if you're like, hey, you know what, I'm fine. Like, this is what I'm going to wear this year. It will wear out a little bit more, but H&M's also another good option.
I just got a suit. It was a holiday discount from Indochino.com, and you go on there, and then you have to go into their shop and they measure you. Actually came back fitting really nice. I really like it. So there are a lot of good options, but yeah, getting the tailor is the key for sure.
Yeah, especially around the ankles. Like, just having and especially if there's certain pair of shoes that you're going to wear, like if you're wearing Air Force Ones or whatever, you want them to like break at the right point on your ankle. And so it shows off the shoe and it looks good. So it's not baggy and like over your shoe. It just looks sloppy. Also, I tell people like what you wear when you're setting up. I'm the kind of person who sets up in the same stuff that I'm going to DJ in. I just don't like changing in a bathroom at a country club. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So I often suggest, go to Lulu's. I actually went to Costco and got like some Costco like chinos, and then I got them tailored. It costs more to get them tailored than the actual product itself. But just go to get some like, the golf pants at like wherever.
They call it, like at Express, I know they call it performance gear now, or
right.
Some places call them tech pants, but those stretchy, it's like the stretchy material. That stuff's
and breathable. Great. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're wearing those as your pants with your suit?
So I get a pair of blacks.
Yeah.
And then I have like either a dark shirt and then a jacket over it. Like,
okay.
So that's what they call separates. And so you can get suit separates all the time, or just get a blazer. So if you could have costume changes throughout the day. So you could wear a pair of like black technical pants, either a dark shirt or something that will blend in, have your sleeves rolled up while you're setting up gear, and then roll down the sleeves when you do the ceremony, put on the jacket for like dinner and announcements, shed the jacket for dancing, right? Or you could put on a different jacket, right? And so you can have different looks, and it's just the jacket you're changing. So if you want like a really cool blazer that pops that you don't have pants for, pair of black technical pants work all the time.
I love that. Yeah, I just can't wear the same thing that I wear to set up that I'm gonna wear to the wedding, because I sweat profusely, and it's just
got a bad case of monkey butt, huh?
So there's these t-shirts that you can probably buy on Amazon. I think they're called Johnson tees. Basically have a pad in the pits, and it's great. I use them all the time. So if you're sweating, like you have these, but you can go and change or whatever. But sometimes I just wear the things, and I know people sweat profusely, and also adult diapers work really well.
Shots fired.
I'm kidding.
All right. Well, that's great to talk about. We haven't really talked about much on the show, look, maybe here and there, but I think that's important. And, I think it's important as you're upping your brand and upping your prices and this and that to be that whole package. Drew and I, off camera talk a lot about that kind of stuff. And I think it matters.
Is this a discussion you ever have with, like, let's say you worked with Andrea Eppolito. She's just high end, high class, whatever. Do you ever talk to her? Hey, Andrea, what should I wear? Does she ever like chime in on that? Do you ever approach a planner about that?
She was great. I worked with her this weekend. This was actually the first time I worked with her.
Okay.
She just trusts her vendors. She's just like, you do what you feel is best. And so I think if you're working with an Andrea and it's that high level of an event, then you should already know what you're wearing, right?
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. And I think it wouldn't be bad to approach us males, to approach a female, get a female's point of view, a planner's point of view, saying, hey, I want to match the vibe. And I think they would appreciate that. And so hopefully you have a good enough relationship where you can ask those questions. And I also have a Pinterest page where I went on Canva and I created these things and I imported them to Pinterest, where I have like 20 different looks that they can choose from.
I'm gonna have to look at that, because I find it fascinating. I think it is super important, and just as a community, we're not all paying attention to it. You are like, oh man, look at how dope my speakers are, but you're the one that's out front. You're the one everyone's staring at. Most people don't even realize what speakers you're using. So,
and you can give them 5 different looks. Hey, here is my suit look. This is my casual look. This is my dark black look. And you can give that option to like your clients, and they can pick your outfit.
Yeah, I'm quick to go with all black look, just because I have a poor sense of style, so makes it a little bit easier.
But the thing is, like, I've seen your look, and I was like, that works for you, and you figured it out. If you have a poor sense of style, at least you're not going. I think you have a sense of who you are and what you're comfortable in, and black is a really easy way to go about it. It's super easy.
Comfortable is the key word in that sentence, because every time I try and go outside of the box or do something that is just, might look good on someone else, I always feel uncomfortable. I just feel uncomfortable. So that's why I always default back to the all black.
Look good, feel good. Feel good, look good.
Feel terrible, look great.
Well, let's keep this pushing.
Yes.
You travel around the country and you host these corporate parties and events. Explain these events that you do and kind of your hosting strategies and how you prep for these.
Yeah, so I this would be a part of my game show. I also do this as an engagement activity when I'm emceeing an event. This year I'll actually be emceeing Midwest DJs Live. So if anybody's going to that, you might be able to see that. Because when I MC, I like to infuse a little bit of, I call them engagement activities to get people re-engaged. It's like instead of a stretch break, okay, everybody stretch and do this, or go out to the hallway and have like 3 drinks. That's what they did at DJ Collective. I was like, they're giving us booze during conference. All right. Whatever. So that is one of my signature games. And it actually started when I was working at Universal Studios. And it was actually my keynote is based all off of this game where I would come out into the middle of the courtyard at Universal Studios City Walk. And it was my duty to gather a crowd of about 100 before the band was to go on at 5:30. So they had a live band on a stage. I walk out into this courtyard. People are walking to their cars or they're leaving or they're going to stores. I had a handful of beads and I would walk out and I play these TV theme songs and I give away beads. And then I would start doing some interactive dances. Hey, if you want some more beads, come and do the cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle. And I do all this stuff. And then I'd lead them to the stage. I'd be up on the stage dancing and I'd be like, are you ready to see Orange Avenue? And then I introduce the band and everybody's partying, ready to go. Cause like this cover band didn't want to be like playing and like nobody's interacting. And so I slowly gathered from 2 people, 3 people, 10 people, 20 people, 40 people, 50 people by playing these games and doing these dances. And so
Did they come up with it for you or did you kind of come up with these ideas?
I developed it with Elliot, who is my boss, and we still collaborate all the time. And he's like, yeah, here's an iPod full of TV theme songs. And I had an iPod that was connected to a Sennheiser body pack and that would send it back up to the booth. And so that was connected that way. And I would just play off an iPod that was connected to a Sennheiser body pack. I also had a microphone as well. And then it's my signature game. So when I do it for corporate audiences, it's my game show. And I walk out in the audience and I give away cash. I give them $1 or $10, whatever. And then I do challenges. So for example, a challenge, I play the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and people go crazy. And I find like the person I say, okay, who here knows all the lyrics to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for $20? Who can rap this and kill it? And it's usually a great one. I usually do that also on Golden Girls. For some reason, a lot of people love Golden Girls, and that's like a good sing-along. Jefferson's is a good sing-along. So I do this as like, it's a really great game because it involves the audience and it kind of turns into karaoke. And then you got a lot of people like, I don't watch TV. I'm like, well,
you need the Will Smith power hour during that little,
exactly.
that little thing, you know?
Right.
Will Smith power block.
So it's one of my signature games. When I do my game shows, it's a game show variety show. Yeah. So I'd usually do 3 or 4 games within the hour.
That's amazing. I want to know the beginning of, because you're a traveler and we're going to get into some more travel talking. What was the beginning of going across the country and doing this thing? Did it start from doing these shows at the theme parks and then people just wanted to bring you all over the place? Or was this your company that you had built in Utah and then it went from there?
Yeah, so I was in Orlando for 3 years, and then I moved back to Utah and I started my company 16 years ago. We're celebrating 16 years this year. And it was just me, and then I started scaling it and getting bigger. And I started doing these type of events in Utah. I developed my game show over the years. Going to Mobile Beat, I was inspired by Scott Favor, who would do these games and things like that. And so I wanted to create my own game show. And these are games that I've been picking up over the years. And then I started doing game shows in Utah. And then it's expanded over the years due to my involvement with the National Speakers Association. And now I have an agency that represents me who I need to get back to. I have some emails from them and they're booking me on these national gigs. And so I also have a speakers bureau that I'm involved with. Agency versus a bureau, whole different thing. But basically they hire me under their umbrella. I go out and I do this. And sometimes people go to the website and they're like, okay, and the business is, it's like called Funny Business Agency. They have like magicians, they have mentalists, they have jugglers, whatever. And then I'm on there as a game show. And it's like, hey, we want to do a game show, or we're doing an awards banquet. We want to do some entertainment. So next week I'll be in Vegas doing an event for Thermo Fisher, and it's their big annual sales event. 1,000 people in the room, and I'm going to come in and do some of these games for them in Vegas at the MGM Grand.
What does prepping look like for this? Because, you know, as somebody that leans on just the music and the DJing aspect of it,
Yeah.
this is so foreign to me of what you do. So how do you prep for that?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because it's one of those things you don't know. Like with music, people go to weddings and they see other songs and like, oh, this is my song. I'm going to create a playlist. And so what I do is I give my clients the option of like, hey, these are my most popular games. I also give them the option to create a custom game, but it's often in the pitch process and then in the meetings. I'm like, okay, tell me about your event. How many people are going to be there? Are they going to be sitting at round tables? Are they going to be theater style? And so that also dictates the kind of games I want to do. Do you want to bring people to the stage? Do you want to give away prizes? So it's a lot of questions. And then I say, okay, these 3 games would be a good fit for your event. And so it's a lot of asking questions, and then a lot of trial and error over the years. And so sometimes the show can be like an hour block where I just go for an hour. This show I'm doing with Thermo Fisher next week is like 3 sets. I'm going to come in, do some table trivia. Then I'm going to come in and do the name that tune. And then I'm going to come in and do one more game. Right. And so I do a whole variety of games. And so that one's split up. And so, yeah, it's a whole different animal. I was just on a Zoom call earlier today with Brock Barton out of St. Louis. And we were talking about, hey, we want to do a Family Feud. Cool. Well, what's the theme of their event? What is the clientele? You also have to figure out like who's going to be in the audience, what kind of corporate sales. These guys are just sales. You primarily know those people are just extroverts, right? Whereas maybe you're working with accountants, introverts. So you got to kind of figure out your audience and what game will work best, and will people rather be on stage, would they rather answer trivia? So it's a whole variety of things.
I got a question. I want to call back to your meltdown. And so I feel like people got to be heckling you, right? When you're up on stage and you're the host at some point, right? Does that happen at all? Or, because I know you're super witty and your comebacks are so good and quick. I assume like with the meltdown, you had to get a lot quicker witted with, someone's going to say something funny that's might not be funny.
Usually I try and not make fun of the person, but I make fun of the situation or what happened. Yeah. And not making them the butt of the joke. But I think a good MC or a good host will acknowledge what happened in the room and be like, do you realize what we just all saw? Right. And that way we can have a little bit of fun and we can talk about people's reactions to it. But I don't really get heckled, but I do get curveballs thrown my way. I remember we were doing this game. It's called Survive. Well, no, actually I'll go into this other one. We were playing this game where it's an easy game where you distribute playing cards to the entire audience. And you say, okay, you're going to find 4 different people and you're going to create the best hand possible. Okay, go ahead, create a royal flush. And everybody's running around trying to find people to create a royal flush. And I'm doing this event and I have the winning team on stage. And then this other lady comes up and she's like, well, we have a royal flush as well. I'm like, well, they came up onto the stage first. She says, but spades beats hearts. I didn't know that was a thing. And so I asked the audience, I poll the audience. And so that's a great way to do it as well. Poll the audience, make the audience the judges, make them make them the evil people. But she would not get off the stage. And so the first rule in improv is yes and. So I yes and it. And I said, okay, well, you get to come up on stage and your prize is you get a photo opportunity or you get to be on the stage with me. That's your prize. Now leave. Right. And that's what happened with her. She would not get off the stage. And she's like, but I want to come up on stage. I'm like, well, congrats. You get to be on stage with me. That's your prize, And so it's just like, you got to think about it in the moment. And I didn't put her down and I was like, get off my stage. I was like, okay, come up. And they all came up on stage and we took a photo and she was ruthless. But
have you ever taken improv classes or anything like this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard this from someone else or even just doing like a stand-up comedy or anything along these lines would be so powerful.
Improv is much easier than stand-up just because even if you just do improv classes, where you don't have to perform. You're just performing in front of your workshop group or your peers in that group. I always suggest taking it gets you, what it does is it helps work a different muscle. I think with all the times you guys are constantly working your DJ muscles, right? Like, let's do a simple game here. Okay. Like, let's go with Drew. First question. 90s hip hop banger, no Biggie, no Tupac. First song, go.
Put on the spot. It's like, if I'm not looking at Serato, it's
right.
I
And
draw
then
a
you can look
blank.
at your crates, right?
Right.
But somebody comes up and they said, give me a beat. Give me something
Yeah.
that's not Biggie or Tupac, like 90s hip hop, right?
Hip hop Ferre. There you go.
There you go.
Hip hop Ferre. There you go.
Hip hop hooray, right? And so, sorry, I'm just putting you on the spot, but that's what improv is about. And so, luckily, you have your playlist and you have your things and you have your go-tos. But improv helps you work that muscle in the sense of, okay, how am I going to react to this? How am I going to respond? It's the same thing when it comes to DJing. Somebody comes up, hey Fuse, can you play some Taylor Swift? But just don't play like all the popular stuff. Give me something that's like a deep cut that's going to be like everybody's going to sing along to. What is it?
Taylor Swift Style. That's probably what I would play.
See, there you go. So, right. And it's because of those repetitions, knowing your music, knowing your audience and how to react. Right. Mm-hmm. So we're playing Turn Down for What, right? Somebody requested Turn Down for What? Where do you go? What's your troll? What's like your Turn Down for What troll? Go.
I play the other Little John song, Bend Over. That's like the next one I play. It's kind of got the same sound, but it's just a little different.
Cool. What about you, Drew?
I usually go transition up to shots.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, but this is the creativity that you guys are using, and you've done this a lot, and you can have a lot of fun and creativity. Like what Drew's superpower, we always have to draw on our superpowers. Drew's superpower is the video stuff. Like it is so cool that you do that, but you do it constantly. You know where to find those videos. You know where to do those things. And so everybody has like their superpowers within the DJ world. And so exposing those and leaning on those, right? When you got Buck Rogers, like the guy is just an amazing, what would you call what does he do again? It's the
live beat creator.
Yeah, like live
beat
drumming.
creator. Yeah, the live drumming.
Drummer.
Right. And it's interesting. I talk a lot about this with fellow DJs. Like, what is your origin story? And I always like to break down DJs into multiple categories. For example, you got your club DJs, you got your gearheads / engineers, you have your people that love music that DJ. You also have the people that were like maybe not the most popular person in high school or weren't like somebody that was more introverted, and this is an outlet for them to be able to perform and to share their music. Then you also have your entertainers. I come from the world of entertainment. I consider myself an entertainer. You also have, and the last one is musicians. Musicians are usually the best, the people that know how to play drums or know how to phraseology, and they also know keys and music and things like that. So I always equate myself as to an entertainer. DJing is just one way for me to get in front of audiences. And so I don't ever claim to be the best DJ. I just know how to entertain an audience and picking the right music. And so beat matching for me was something that I actually went into about 6 years ago. And so I'm still learning and I'm still trying to become better.
Yeah, it makes sense. With that, I know we're running a little bit low on time, but I want to transition into the traveling. You travel a lot. You are a fellow Delta-er. I want to go into your travel hacks, and we got a little segment video here.
Great Scott! Hey there, Drew and Fuse! It's me, Doc Brown! Quick, jump in the DeLorean! We need to get this episode up to 88 miles per hour! Now, hit the flux capacitor, and let's travel to the future!
So fun fact, I actually was at New York Comic Con when they had the reunion with Doc Brown and Marty, Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. I was there. It was really cool. So,
do you ever host any of those?
Yeah. So Elliot, who hired me as a DJ back in Orlando, I work with him at these Comic Cons. We're going to be doing Star Wars Celebration in London this year. With him, he has me host the smaller stages. He does the big stages, but I was doing warm up for that set when we had Marty, when we had Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. I was DJing, and then he had his right-hand gal who usually DJs. So I was like next man up. So I DJ'd, she did the warm-up, and then Elliot moderated, and he hosted it. So I kind of stepped onto the stage right before they did. So it was really cool.
Well, that's huge, man. Well, we want to learn about your travel hacks. I mean, again, I said you fly Delta as well, so you got all the points and you get all the bonuses. So run us through your travel hacks and what your stuff is.
Okay, first thing you got to do, everybody, if you're not doing it right now, you need to get TSA Pre. It doesn't matter. It's $100. This will get you in the Fast Pass line. Now, if you want the Super Fast Pass, the next one is called Clear. Now, you can get Clear with certain statuses. Now, not all airports have Clear, but if you are at an airport that is constantly like long lines, you're going to save yourself a half hour and a lot of heartache. So Clear for certain people, it could be $100. For me, it's a drop in the bucket. With Delta, I get free Clear because of my status. So one, TSA Pre, and then if you are traveling internationally, you have an international pre-check as well. So international pre-check works for both national and international. So that is my first hack. Second is loyalty. Start building loyalty to one airline. So if you are in a certain town where the hub is like American, United, Delta, luckily Drew and I are Delta people because we live in Delta towns. If you're in an American town, I'm sorry. But the next one up is United. Southwest for me is my regional airline if I can't get something. Southwest is okay, but they have their issues as well. But I think if you
had a major meltdown,
major meltdown.
Yeah.
Also, once you start getting status with certain airlines, you get perks. One of them being for us in Delta is Sky Club. Now, once you get to that perk, you can also get what are called our choice benefits. My choice benefit this last year was taking a guest to the Sky Club, and I'm telling you why. Because back in the day, Drew and I were in Tampa.
I wasn't even going to bring this up. This is all you.
but Drew brought this up to me, and I didn't realize how much of a dick I was. But we were at Tampa Airport.
I think I didn't understand. I would equate it to I probably didn't understand.
I look back at it, and so we are walking. We're both going towards our gates, and I was like, well, this is where I say goodbye. And you're like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I'm going to the Sky Club. And he's like, what? I'm like, sucks to be you. I didn't say that, but that's basically was my attitude. And
look at all this free food and drinks I'm about to have.
He's looking at me on the window. Hey, what's up? As I'm suffering.
And so one of the choice benefits that I opted in for was getting the buddy passes so I could bring in people who are traveling with me. So my wife now has status so she can come in, but there were times where I was going to the Sky Club without her, and I just felt like such a jerk. And so
you did it to her as well.
Well, the thing about her is like I said, do you want to come? And she doesn't. She'll opt. She'll be like, no, you just go in, fill up my water bottle, come back out. So I go in, I get some food, then I come out with the food. But now we've dialed it in. It took a toll on our marriage, and so
I think on another level of that though is there's free Wi-Fi. It's a lot quieter. It's not the hustle bustle of just absolute insanity.
It's more comfortable in there, just in general. Like it doesn't feel as much of like an airport lobby. You know, let's be honest. You get all types of people and breeds of people in the airport, and sometimes it can be a little bit of crazy. And two, I think when you go into the lounge, you get a lot of people that are like more airport pros, so it's a little more courtesy in there and stuff like that as well.
Another thing to do is getting cards that would benefit. So if you are flying a lot or if you're staying in hotels, you want to get cards. So I have Delta cards. Also, right now, I'm far behind, but I'm now starting to build brand loyalty for hotels. Right now, I'm building towards Marriott. I'm at a Hilton right now. My suggestion is Marriott because there's more Marriotts internationally. And so what I've learned from some of my friends, which is a game changer, is once you get to a certain level with Marriott, and I think with Hilton as well, is late checkout, like 3 p.m., 4 p.m.
Oh, dude.
Right? Game changer, right?
Game changer, dude. Yeah.
Right? And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I'm like, okay. And so I'm now building up my brand loyalty with Marriott. So even if your client books the room, it has to be under your name, and then you give them your Marriott Bonvoy or your Hilton Honors number, and you'll still get credit for that room. Also, if you're working with a client, do a hotel buyout. I usually just do flat fee instead of receipts. I'm like, yeah. So I go and do an estimate. Okay, it's going to be $500. Hey, just we'll do a buyout, travel and hotel, $1,500, right? Makes it easy. And then you can pocket the rest. But also with travel, you got to think about the Ubers and things like that. So I'm loyal to Lyft because I get Sky Miles. Lyft is connected with Delta. I get Sky Miles there. The one thing I'm now doing also is Uber Eats. One of my speaker friends, Jeff Savilico, he said, this will save you time. You're probably going to be paying $10 more for that meal. But if they're going to bring it straight up to your room, if you still have to prep and you still have to do this, you're not going down the elevator, walking or getting an Uber, getting some food. Uber Eats, you're going to be paying $10 more for convenience. So I did that this morning. I got McDonald's. So they brought it to my room, and it makes life a lot easier. Also, good luggage. There's some great backpacks and things for mixers as well. Off the top of my head, I can't think of those, but my favorite is my jetpack.
Yeah, shout out to Jetpack Bags. We had DJ Stress on a previous episode.
So, and that's the coolest thing is when you can put your branding and your logo on your jetpack. I got the big, thick one. I got the biggest one because I travel a lot, so I put a lot of stuff in there. There's like cables, cords, even toothpicks and you got
a go-to mic, I'm guessing.
Yes. Well, when I bring my microphone, I have this is a Countryman mic. It's a headset mic. And so this is another thing that I love. It's a really small pillow, but you can wrap it around your head. It also works as an eye mask.
What brand is that? Okay, that's interesting. I've never seen that.
I forget what the brand is, but you could look it up on, you can call it like eye mask pillow or something like that. I think I bought this on Instagram and then I found it again on Amazon. And it's a fairly simple one. I'm a window guy, so I can lean up against the window and just like zonk out. It works really great.
And so you can shut the window. That's my biggest reason for sitting windows, because that a-hole at 6 a.m. that has never seen clouds before is like, oh, look at the clouds. And you're like, shut the window.
Another thing that I'm doing, I've transitioned from headphones to inner ear monitors. It looks smoother, and then I can take these wherever, so I don't have a huge pair of headphones in my backpack. And then I can plug these also into the video screen. And then if you're an aisle guy, I got something for you as well. This right here, this little dongle, this is called AirFly. You can put this Bluetooth
I use that.
thing.
I have one. It's awesome.
You plug it into the monitor, and then you can use the AirFly and Bluetooth to like earbuds. Speaking of earbuds, these Bose ones are amazing. Noise canceling. This will help you just like zone out. I download a playlist off of Spotify. So it's downloaded and it's called Sleep. It's amazing. So just go to Spotify if you have an account, download that playlist. So when you're on the plane, Delta now is giving you free Wi-Fi if you have Sky Miles, if you're a Sky Miles member. Not all flights, but I do that. And I get a lot of work done on my Delta flights as well. So
I didn't know about that sleep playlist. Thanks. That's a great one. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I love the sleep playlist, and you download it offline, and so it's on your phone, and then you just turn it on. And one of the things I like to do sometimes is I like to get first on the plane, zonk out, especially if it's a red eye. Sometimes take an Ambien, and then I'm out. So it's really nice. So those are some of my travel hacks. I use, I have two different bags I like to use. I have a Way. If you pay a little bit more, you're going to get better luggage. I also have the Soul Guard. The Soul Guard's pretty good as well. So those are my two luggages. And then, the Jet. And I know it's kind of like narcissistic, but I love having my logo on my backpack. Makes you feel like you're a deal. So,
You're people just shouting out your name randomly as you're walking through the.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's Rob Ferre. So those are my hacks for now. One thing: never leave your wallet in first class. That happened to me, and I got somebody on the plane kept it, and but I put a tile in it, so I was able to follow it. So get AirTags or tiles, put those in your luggage as well. But when you build brand loyalty, like with Delta, I don't have to pay for any of my bags. My bags are all free. And so if you're going with a lot of gear, if you're going with a mixer, the thing about mixers, I think they count as musical instruments. And so even if it might be a little bit bigger, they still will let you put it on the plane with you. You just say, yeah, it's a musical instrument. I also, if I am going to put that through the luggage thing, I always make sure they put a fragile sticker on it. Fragile all the time.
Oh, that's a great little tip there. There's a lot of good tips in this travel one.
Totally.
Last tip. If you get to the airport and there's huge crowds checking in bags, where do you go? Skycap. Every single time. So in your bag have $1 bills, $5 bills. If you go to Skycap, it's still going to get there. You're just going to tip them like $5, but you bypass that line. So Skycap is always on the curbside.
Yep, curbside. That's how I always check in. Roll right in.
All right, we got this segment video we'll play, and then we'll talk some music.
Cool.
Hey, Drew and Fuse, Kermit the Frog here. When I'm not dealing with my pain-in-the-ass wife, Miss Piggy, I like to talk and sing with my friends. What's your top songs? A new personal favorite of mine is this. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. And they clean up nicely. Because usually they look like shit. Yay!
Who did that voiceover? Who was that?
That's Kermit. With Jim Henson.
Oh, amazing. Jim Henson coming from the grave.
We can't tell all of our secrets. We got to keep some of it fresh.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
So yeah, we're not going to necessarily do top music here, but we are going to do some of your top remixers. We'll just let you kick it off.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen really quickly here so you can see my Serato. The reason I'm getting really excited about this is when I went to MEX last year, I met Fuse for the first time and I met Ferre. I come from the world of entertainment, and now that I'm really getting into the remixers, I just love meeting these people, and it's like I'm fanboying all over these people, and it's just like you guys have such musical talent and you have like this ear for it. And so when I see like these people who are like real people and seeing the remixers, like, oh, I use your cuts all the time. So as you can see, we are now looking at my my top music, and as you can see, September is at the top here. I love DJ Ragoza's Ice Ice Baby Uptown Funk. So Ragoza is at the top for me. And then is also, I think he's one of my favorite remixers just because I love Scooter's. I think he has really good party music. He's one of the best party DJs. And then if we keep going down here, Elliot has a lot of great stuff. The thing about Elliot, he doesn't release his stuff because I'm friends with him. Elliot gives me his stuff, but DJ Elliot, he's probably got a really great musical ear. Like that's his superpower. You can see right here, Elliot's on there as well. Where's my first? Krieger's got some good stuff. There's my first Fuse Mania right there. Your quick edit to Boogie Shoes is like my go-to. It's probably, I play that in the first 10, 15 minutes when I'm doing my disco set, funk set. That's always in there. These are just by plays, but I can tell you one of my favorite ones. You just dropped his name earlier, which is Even Steve. I love Even Steve stuff. It's just super creative. Whenever I play blends and mashups, people just always take note. And it makes you seem like, oh, I loved what you did with this. And like, I did nothing. I just picked the right songs. But this other guy, I found him on Silo. I don't know if you know Silo. Yeah. I found him on, I believe it was, what's the orange one? Why am I forgetting the name of it? It's a...
Well, we do have Silo on Direct Music Service. So that
you do?
Grab that there. Shout out to our sponsor, Direct Music Service.
And Direct Music Service is my go-to. Like once I started getting into this, like Direct DMS is what I got to. What blew my mind was Eric Massengow. Like he did a lot of the Ultimixes, and finding out that his son...
Yeah, his son. Yeah.
He like they're related, and that blew my mind. Where's the other ones? So those are kind of like my go-to. Victor Menego. Now Victor Menego, he does a lot of good intros and outros. when I found out that he lived in Park City, Utah, that blew my mind as well. And I met him at a wedding industry party, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hi, I'm Victor." I'm like, "Oh, good to meet you." And it's like, he's a really nice guy. And then I was like, "What's your last name?" Menego. I'm like, "What?" And that like blew my mind, meeting like somebody that you're using their stuff all the time. And so, and then when I met Drew, I was all like, "Oh, I use the Drew Pierce." Like if I were to type in this, let's look at my.
I just saw the Footloose in there.
Like this is all your stuff. Like I use a lot of, this is all your stuff. Like I have a ton of these. You have a lot of great intros, outros, shortcuts that I use primarily a lot of your short edits, as you can see.
It's wild to hear. Me and Fuse always like to hear this because it's wild when we're making shit in our bedroom and you don't think anybody's going to play it, and then people end up liking this stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and then Fuse has my top YMCA edit, right? And
there you go.
And it's fun to fanboy over you guys because it's like you create these mixes and these things that make people like myself, who are like adequate DJs, seem like amazing baller DJs. And so you're giving us these gifts that turn us into just like people that can just take a party from a 5 to a 10. And so this, I think, of all the tracks, this one is like the most creative and the one I love the most. So I have a whole thing in here. It's called DJ Friends. I have DeVille, Elliot,
I love it.
Wookie. Wookie's got some really interesting stuff.
So much good stuff.
Ragoza, Scooter, Lex is a local guy. Janai, Starjack. Starjack's got a lot of just like super just like hype stuff. And that's good for like high schools and things like that. Even Steve's like this guy's just got some. My favorite, even Steve, I think it's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. His Girls Just Want to Have Fun is amazing. And then I got my Digital Dave, and then I got some other things, but I created all these things just because I like to know that I'm friends with some of these people. Some of them I'm not. Like Wookie, I'm not a friend with, but I call them DJ friends instead of like remixes. But I receive a lot of inspiration from my friends in the DJ business. And so once I started going to these conferences, DJ Collective introduced me to people like Drew. Like the first time I met Drew, I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then I looked at my stuff and I was like, "Oh, it's that guy, the guy who has like all these remixes that I use all the time." That was more just me just talking about my crates and how I've come to the process of like enjoying DJing more now, because I'm now into like finding the remixes and doing those things. So,
and if you found that for your shows, it's a big help, and it separates you, right? Really?
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully people enjoyed that, getting a look into my Serato.
All right. And we are going to move right into the 60-second rant.
Totally. All right. Let me play this segment video and we'll get to hear your rant. So here we go.
Hey, Drew and Fuse. Peter Griffin calling in. I want to hear what really grinds DJ's gears. You know, besides from Bad Bunny requests from a phone or DJs stealing custom mashups of YMCA and Macarena and using it on their own TikToks. Hey, this week's guest, what grinds your gears?
So yeah, we want to hear it. What grinds your gears?
Give set the clock. Set the clock.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
I hate how the DJ community is all about themselves. We are constantly cannibalizing our own. We're constantly going like, well, I'm going to take my ball and go here. And I bring that up is because we have so many damn DJ shows. There are so many shows and we're so segmented, and we're coming up to MEX, which is the biggest one, but that show is starting to turn into something that it's not what it used to be. My wish is that we could combine forces and create one amazing DJ show. I don't think that will ever happen because we have so many egos. This industry is lambasted with alpha males and a lot of dudes. And the more female DJs we can get into the industry, the better it can be. I think having more diversity of thought, and less white males dominating what is being said, will get us together. Thanks to the DJ Collective, we've had more people who are coming from different worlds. We're having festival DJs, we're having travel DJs, we're having mobile DJs, all coming together. Whereas like mobile, it was just mobiles. And so I think what we need to do is get over ourselves and learn more from others and collaborate more. Drew is doing stuff with Brian B. I'm working with multiple DJs here in Utah. And I think the more we can collaborate, the better we can be as a DJ community.
Really, that's the idea behind this show. Is we're trying to bring DJs from across the country, you know, club DJs, people like yourself, who's a fantastic MC and host, and just all these different worlds colliding, you know, and we're trying to just meld them all together because we are one. And
Right.
it's, you know, it is, we all do got to come together and realize we can help each other out.
And one more thing is don't assume who people are and what they are just from social media. Meet that person, have a meal with them. I've had certain DJs troll me online because they're like, oh, well, you're not a real DJ. You're more of an MC, game show host, It's just like, we're all DJs. We all have different skill sets. We all bring different things to the table. And it's not about, there's so many DJs that just like to flex and pretend like they're better than others. And I think if we can praise each other and find the strengths that we all have in what we do, I think we can become a better community.
I agree.
Love it. I think it's great. So it's been great talking to you today. And one of the things we like to do as the last part of the show is a segment that we call the sauce. And it is the takeaway, what you would, you know, what piece of advice you might give your younger self, a piece of advice for our listeners, whatever you want. We're going to play this segment video and then we'll take it from there. So here we go.
The name is Bootsy, baby. And this shout out goes out to Drew and Fuse, all the way from Cincinnati to the LBC Bobble. Yeah, I was told you guys are quite the chefs, and you got a delicious sauce that you cook up. Ooh, and it drips that swagoo and breaks down the recipe. Yeah, and you giving up the pig, cause it's funky. As in good, that is, finger funkin' good. On the one by the power of the one. Yeah, without that, there is none. So get yours and be in tune with the one that loves you. Get it, baby.
Dude, that is baller. Bootsy Collins. One of my favorite tracks, Groove is in the Heart, Delight. What's any part of that?
Yeah. He's in the video.
One hit wonder.
Love that song. It's the top 10 for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big friend of the show. Shout out, Bootsy.
Wonderful. Yeah. Send him some Skyline and he'll do a shout out. When it comes to the sauce here, one thing I always remember from one of my conversations with Mike Walter, he talked about have the end in mind. When you start your business, or if you're just in the middle of your business, what is the end in mind? Where do you want to be in 10 years, 15 years? Do you want to be managing other DJs? Is it just you? Do you want to scale? Do you want to create a bigger business? And so when you start with your business, where are you going to start? What's the name? I think that's really important. You can always change your name, but is this going to be something bigger than you? Is it going to be Drew Pierce Entertainment? Is it just Drew Pierce? Or is it going to be something bigger, like Life of the Party, which I did for me? And I'm so glad I made it about the name and not myself, because I'm scaling back on what I'm doing as a DJ and doing more stuff there. The second piece of advice I would have is finding a mentor. Finding somebody that you can learn more from. If you're in a room, if you're the smartest person in the room, get out of that room. You always need to surround yourself with people that will challenge you. I'm a part of a group called Think Tank. A lot of those people run multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm nowhere near that, but I enjoy being around people who are doing things better and bigger and learning from them. Also shadowing. One of the best things that I did was shadow Brian B once, and I got to see his style, his MC style, and I took bits and pieces of what he did and put it into my show, right? And so one day I would love to be a fly on the wall or assist Drew. When Drew comes to Utah, I want to be that guy who can help him out, right? Or just even going to a club and watching Fuse, watching Digital Dave, going to those parties at DJ Collective and seeing what DJs are doing gives you ideas, but also seeing how they manipulate the audience as well. So one, have the end in mind. Two, mentorship. Find somebody who's doing it better. either asked to take their course, do whatever. That's what I've done. I've taken multiple courses as a DJ, and I have made my toolbox bigger and better just because of that. And so if you're just looking to create those alliances as well, and don't start with, I'd like to pick your brain. Don't start with that, because that's very one-sided. Hey, Drew, I'd like to pick your brain about this and that. Don't start with that. Hey, Drew, I love what you're doing with video remixing. You're the best. So, I'm going to butter them up. And then I'm going to say, Drew, I would love to just set up a Zoom call. I would love to explore more what you're doing. And maybe if there's anything I can help you with, let's explore that. Right. And so it's more collaborative, and instead of me trying to get everything and all the information. And just start looking for people that you want to learn from. And it doesn't hurt to ask, like, hey, would you okay if I be your roadie for a day? I'd be happy to fly out to Long Beach and just hang out with you for a day. Whatever, maybe.
I love that. I've been doing it a lot too. I've been roading for people because I want to grab extra little pieces, good and bad. I don't think it has to all just be perfect. It might be like, oh, they shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Or but yeah, right. It's no, good and bad. You got to learn from everything. And I've been shadowing all kinds of people. I'll lift all their gear and do all the shit and let them come in and be a rock star and walk out. So I think it is necessary to always be growing and always be learning all this stuff. I like that. I like that sauce. Get a mentor. I want to add this little piece. And I was dropping off some gear last night, and there was a young DJ there, and he was just asking me all these questions that you just said. And I said, hey, how do you, what's your elevator pitch? He didn't really have much for me. So maybe that's something you got to think about.
Yeah. And when you do your elevator pitch, there's Alan Berg has a great podcast, and I forget which episode he talked about it, but talk about the results, maybe even paint a picture, and you can say something to that. Think about the best wedding you've ever been to. Everybody was on the dance floor singing along to the music. And every time a song came on, people were going, whoa, freaking out. That's what I do. And they're like, whoa, right? Now you're painting a picture of what you do.
I love it. Well, I know you got to go, and we really appreciate you being on. This is amazing, dude. You're the man.
Yeah, I've been bugging you for about a year to do this, so it's quite the honor. I think you guys do an excellent show. Best theme song, best production podcast. You guys do a lot of fun stuff.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you being on, and give all of the listeners where they could find you and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Rob Ferre, LinkedIn at Rob Ferre. That's another thing. DJs aren't on LinkedIn. That's where I get all my corporate clients. I am constantly on LinkedIn. You can also follow me on Facebook as well, but Instagram is where I do a lot of my posts. And then you can go to robferre.com.
And find you on DJ Idea Group?
The group I have two groups, actually. I have one group that's called the Dapper DJ. So if you just go to Facebook groups, Dapper DJ, there's a company called Dapper DJ. Dapper DJ group is where you can level up what you're wearing, and also have a forum on kids events. So if you're looking for ideas for bar mitzvahs, school events, or things like that, kids event DJ forum.
Awesome, dude. Thanks again for being on.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on and taking the time to be here with us today. And that's going to wrap up the show for today. So thank you guys that are listening and tuning in. We appreciate anybody who shares or tags us on social media. Remember, there's that YOLO line. You can call in, leave us a voicemail, 562-246-YOLO. Make sure you use our promo codes. You can find anything that we advertise and plug in the links below. Till next time, that's it. See you guys later.
Bye.